Welcome to Ecclesia Principles, a biblical strategy for believers to engage in God's design for government with Ray Eppard.
Hello, glad you could join us again today. We're continuing to look at jurisdictional government. That's what God has established. He established self-government, He established family government, He's established civil government. And with this, He's also established church government. I'm going ahead and throwing that one in today. And by church government, I'm not talking about the government of an individual church. I'm talking about the principle of faith. The principle of faith. And with that, in Romans 13:1, that's what we've been primarily looking at this week. We saw that the positions of government are stewardships, and that the people in those can either be faithful to God's divine purpose or unfaithful to it. And that divine purpose is the protecting of people's rights and the curbing of sin. Now, and Romans 13:1 is really talking about civil government. And yesterday we really looked at what I'll call the A portion. And I want to look at that a little bit more again today. It says, let every soul be subject to the governing authorities. Now, one of the problems I think that we have in applying these scriptures to life is too many people think of the things regarding government as being the person that's in authority, rather than the concept of the position. And as we go through Romans 13, you'll see that God, through the Apostle Paul, reminds them of what the divine purpose is. Now, in this, our founding fathers, in the Declaration of Independence, as we said yesterday, they listed their grievances against King George. And that was ultimately, they're saying to him, every soul, including the king, should be subject to the governing authorities. Every soul, including the king, should be subject to honoring God's establishment of self-government, God's establishment of family government, and even other positions of civil government. And they were saying that the king had usurped authority over all of those, therefore he was in the wrong, and they had the right to separate from England because of those violations. Otherwise, Romans 13:1 would have said that the whole American Revolution was a sin, but it wasn't. They were operating biblically. Now, with this, when it got around to the establishment of the American Constitution, you see, in the Declaration, they mentioned among these that God had established and given unalienable rights. Among these, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. In other words, that was not an exhaustive list. That was just the cream of the crop. That was the top tier. But when it came to the establishment of the Constitution, there was a major discussion about listing those unalienable rights. And it was a great debate. And ultimately what happened is, because part of the discussion was, well, everybody knows what those rights are. And the other group said, no, there may come a time when people do not know what their rights are. We need to list those so that they will always know what their rights are. And out of that, we got what is known as the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. If you would, those are the rest of the unalienable rights that our founders believed that God had given to each person. And they're basically biblically based. I'll stop there for right now, but we'll continue this again tomorrow. God bless you.
You've been listening to Ecclesia Principles with Ray Eppard. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook on our Ray Eppard pages. This program was brought to you by Victory Worship Center and World Outreach. Services Sunday 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, 200 Hammond Lane, Stanton, Virginia.